Welcome back to another edition of the 24/7 Sports Football Recruiting Podcast. It is August 17th, Wednesday, for another 5-minute morning edition. I am Blair Angulo, joined by national recruiting analyst Andrew Ivins, and we're here to discuss the big decommitment of Keon Keeley, the five-star defensive lineman from the state of Florida, has backed off his pledge, Andrew, to Notre Dame. What's the shock level on this one?
Pretty surprising. I mean, if you want to call it spatula season, silly season, we knew decommitments were going to come after everyone rushed to lock in a spot in the summer months. But we didn't think it would be this early. And with Keon Keeley, he's been committed to Notre Dame for almost 14 months, and he kept saying all the right things about the Irish. But he did take an unofficial visit to Alabama back in January, returned to Tuscaloosa in late July, and there was kind of some rumors out there. I mean, I said it. I thought Alabama was kind of in the driver's seat and that the team to beat, and I still think that's the case. Look, he breaks away from that pledge to the Irish, and I think the Crimson Tide are in prime position to get one of the nation's top players eventually in their recruiting class.
Yeah, are you anticipating a quick spatula decision in terms of being a flip, a delayed flip? Is he going to take other official visits? I think the big concern here for Notre Dame to try to get Keon Keeley back in the fold is the fact that he already took his official visit to South Bend.
Yeah, and that was probably a calculated risk for Marcus Freeman, and I think I had said that in the past with my colleague Cooper Pategna. We discussed that at length. With these summer official visits, you kind of want to get the whole class in together, build some camaraderie, but at the same time, you run the risk of maybe never getting a face-to-face interaction with a coveted prospect again. And, Notre Dame's going to have to do it from a distance now. Sure, Keon can visit on his own dime. Sure, they can go in-home when we get to December and late November. But really, they've used all their cards. On the flip side, Alabama, they have an official visit to use. And it sounds like Keon Keeley is going to get to Tuscaloosa for an official win. I don't know. But I wouldn't be surprised if maybe he visited some other schools just to kind of go through the recruiting process. He's a kid that's so highly coveted, so talented, but he's never really been through everything. When he committed to Notre Dame, not many people knew about Keon Keeley, not only on a national recruiting scene, but really on a local recruiting scene. So I wouldn't be surprised if he checked out some schools around the country. Ohio State has been mentioned as a possible official visit destination. And then I think you got to keep an eye on Billy Napier and the Florida Gators. They've been as hot as anyone on the recruiting trail. They've really made the defensive line group a priority, that front seven here in the 2023 cycle. And Keon actually was in Gainesville back in March for a junior day. Gators sent coaches to his spring game to show the polo on the sideline. So I think those are the two schools to keep an eye on in addition to Alabama, Ohio State, and Florida. So those are the two in addition to the Crimson Tide.
Keon Keeley did commit to Notre Dame initially in June of 2021. So this is a prospect that's been off the board for well over a calendar year. Now he's back on the board. You mentioned Ohio State, Florida, and Bama obviously trying to make a push there. Notre Dame will undoubtedly continue to be a player in this recruitment. How do you see this shaking out over the next couple months? Do you anticipate him perhaps making a decision later on, since he hasn't really been able to go through the process closer to the early signing period? What's your temperature check on this one?
Well, this is just speculation. I think he'll probably take some official visits, and he should. I mean, like I said, he's such a coveted talent, a guy that wasn't a late riser, but when he initially started the recruiting process, he didn't have some of the options he does now. So, I think he'll probably take his time, go see some really good football games around the country. Heck, he could go up to Columbus for that Notre Dame showdown on Labor Day weekend. That's one of the tickets of the year. And, maybe he gets to Alabama for the showdown with Texas A&M. But, if I'm a gambling man and I've been in this industry for a while, I'm not going to bet against Nick Saban here. I think that's the team to watch for Keon Keeley. And I would not be surprised if he's rushing the passer one day with that crimson uniform on and the white shorts.
Yeah, Alabama's been ascending in the recruiting rankings and obviously trending for Keon Keeley, the number 1 rated edge rusher in the 23 class, the number 2 overall prospect in the state of Florida, according to the 24/7 Sports rankings, and a top 10 prospect nationally, according to the composite. Andrew, thank you so much for joining us.
Of course, man.